And welcome to week number 9 of the Delaware Live, powered by 302 Sports Pigskin Picks. Special guests this week, we have Nolan Henderson. And Nolan, in honor of you being here, I'm going to get rid of the 302 hat and go to the UD hat for you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for having me.
Mojo here. So, for most of you folks, you think we have Nolan on because he's like, one of the top quarterbacks in the FCS, but that's not true. And not only because he was a great baseball player in high school, Nolan has a wrestling background. He was a stud wrestler before he was an all-state baseball player and football player. You remember those days, Nolan?
I do. I miss those days. They were some of my favorite athletic days.
Yep. Back when, a lot of kids want to specialize in, as a quarterback, you can show that three-sport athletes are what the colleges are looking for.
No doubt. I'm so thankful I did it. Just learning all the skills from every sport. I think there's no real, downfall of trying to play as many sports as you can. I'm glad I did it.
All right, so let's get started. We're going to start with Friday night 7:30 kickoff. Seaford at Odessa. Seaford is 6-2. Odessa 4-3. Nolan's got a little blood in this game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. These two teams have done to Laurel this season what others have failed to do. Odessa's defense, they held Laurel scoreless in the first quarter. Seaford scored twice on Laurel, and that was all in the first half. Both ended up losing lopsided games to the Bulldogs, but they fared better than others. The Ducks have a really good defensive front, but I think Seaford's ability to throw the ball and get to the edges with DeJounte Levon, I think this puts the Blue Jays in a better position to win this game. I'm going to take Seaford. Nolan?
Yeah, like you mentioned, my sister goes to Odessa, so I'm a little handcuffed here. I know Seaford's a good team, but I got to go Odessa there.
We go with the Ducks, Trey.
Yeah, Odessa's defense, they were strong in that first half against Laurel, but they wore down as the second half came and went. And I think with DeJounte Levon for Seaford, I think that's kind of what's going to happen again. I think it's going to be a great game, but I think Seaford's offense is going to eventually get a couple in the end zone and pull away.
I think it's going to be a pretty good Friday night Class A game. We're going to move to Friday night 7 o'clock. Indian River and Laurel. Indian River's 4-4. Laurel 8-0. Last year's Indians, they took Laurel to overtime during the regular season. They ended up reaching the semifinals, losing to Laurel again. This year, IRs, they're just fighting for a spot in the state tournament. I think they've already locked it up. The defending state champs said they have not skipped a beat since they won that 1A title. They may be better. The Bulldogs have outscored their opponent. Nolan, you like these kind of numbers. This is what Smyrna used to do. 353-31. That's averaging, their defense is averaging less than 4 points a game. That's a little more than a field goal. Laurel is ground and pound on offense and just pound on defense. Laurel wins. They got a 9-0, and they set up that season-ending showdown with Delmar. Nolan, who you got?
Yeah, I was doing my research as well, and I was looking. Laurel has just dominated everyone, and especially at home. I was looking, and I could be wrong here, but 127-12 is what I had as their 3 home games this year, which is just unreal domination there. I think Laurel wins this one. They haven't really been tested, and I don't think they'll be tested this week.
Ray Mitchell.
Yeah, Indian River, they've been up and down this season, and that close game with Delmar, at least you believe they could have a shot with Laurel. They at least hang tough. But I think Laurel's defense is really tough. I think their offense is really tough, and they're playing at home, which makes it even tougher. I'm gonna go Laurel.
7 o'clock Friday night, Delmar at Lake Forest. The Wildcats are 4-4. Spartans 6-2. Superman has kryptonite. Lake Forest has Delmar. The Wildcats have won 6 straight between these two. When Delmar wins over the Spartans, it's usually a low-scoring game. Lake Forest, they're averaging 36 points per game this year, and 3 times they put 50 points on the scoreboard. The Wildcats, they might have trouble keeping this score down. I'm taking Lake Forest at home here. Oh.
Yeah, I was back and forth with this one. I ended up going Delmar. I think they make it 7 consecutive wins against Lake Forest, and just when looking at their common opponents, I just feel like if Delmar can control the game and keep it relatively low scoring, I think they'll come out on top.
Right.
Yeah, we got 2 option offenses in this game. They both run it really well. Jalen Johnson ran wild in the second half for Delmar in their win over Woodbridge. But then you got Kai Rivera and Jameer Snell. They can flat out fly for Lake Forest. I've been back and forth as well. I'm going to say Lake Forest breaks that streak. They don't get the win at home. Let's go Lake Forest.
All right, let's move to a AAA game. Some guys you used to face, Nolan. So Class 3A. So Friday night, 7:30, Dover at Louisiana in Absinio Stadium. Dover 6-3, Louisiana 6-2. Two spread offenses, two teams with solid defense. They're both shut out by Sussex Central. Both lost handily to Smyrna. But each able to score 3 touchdowns against the Eagles. I think the passing advantage goes to Louisiana with the freshman quarterback, Ryan Starr. But the big play advantage, I think, goes to Dover with Jaquan Kilby and John Parker. Both are track speed type guys. This is a tough game to predict, but I see Sally's defensive score being the difference. Pick 6, being a scooping score. Louisiana gets the win here in front of a huge crowd.
Yeah, like you said, this is a tough one to pick, and usually when it's a tough one, I usually go with the home team, and I think the Sallies, they'll play well. They have a good defense. I think they'll show up and they'll win at home. I think.
Right.
As you know, I've been a fan of Dover most of the year. They got a ton of speed. They're great both sides of the football. But I really think Louisiana's really coming to their own in the second half of the season as we get towards the end. They're really starting to throw a ball around better and better each week. I kind of agree with you, Dad. I'm not saying it's going to be a defensive score, but I think a defensive stop maybe leading to a big offensive score with Sally's at home. I do. I've been a fan of Dover all year. I don't think I'm mad at him or something, but I kind of like Sally's. This one. I'm going to go Sally's.
Friday night, 7 o'clock. St. George's at Cape Henlopen. St. George's 2-6. Cape Henlopen 4-4. This is a must-win game for St. George's. They could get one of those last 2 spots in the state tournament with a 4-6 record. Cape probably has one of those spots already, but has to win one of their final 2 games for a winning record in Week 10 at Smyrna. So this is a game Cape has to have. Even in their losses, St. George's has competed against most of their opponents this season. They put a scare in Sussex Central last Saturday, losing 33-28. I think that gives them the edge going in. I'm going to go with St. George's on the road.
Yeah, I think St. George's is a lot better than their record, but I'm going to go Cape here. I think it's senior night. They're coming off 2 tough losses, and I think they right the ship and they finish their home schedule with a W.
Right.
Yeah, Cape, they jumped out to 4 wins this season, but the past 2 weeks they've struggled in the second half. St. George's Donovan Brooks had a big week at quarterback last week against a tough Sussex Central defense. And he led the offense to 4 scores on a team that has shut out Dover and Sally's. But kind of looking at it, like you said, Cape, they got to win one of the last 2 here. I like both these teams. They both had good seasons, like Nolan said. St. George's is better than the record shows. But I think Cape in a must-win game, Cape gets it done at home.
Saturday game, 10:30, Newark at Hudson. Newark 5-3, Hudson 1-7. This is a game where Newark is playing up in class. Final home game for Hudson head coach Frank Moffitt. I don't think this is the type of season Hudson envisioned sending him off on. But the Silver Eagles, they can give him a glorious send-off on the last ever game in that stadium. Newark has clinched a berth in the 2A state tournament, and a win playing up would really boost their position in the seeding. But I think the day is going to go to Coach Moffitt. I give Hudson the win here.
Yeah, I think Hodgson wins this for Coach Moffitt. I think they'll come out with that on their mind and play a passionate game. And just congrats to Coach Moffitt on a great career as well.
Yeah, Newark stepping up in class, taking on Hudson. That had a rough year. They're tested and they're getting several players back from injury. I think you guys both hit the nail on the head. I think Hudson finds a way to get it done for Coach Moffitt. And congrats on a great career.
And Friday night, number 1 ranked Smyrna versus number 6 ranked Appell. Smyrna 7-1, Appell 5-3. Eagles take on their 3rd Middletown area opponent of the season. This week they travel to the west side to take on Appell. The Jaguars are run. This is a great name for a kid. Run DMC. I don't know if you've heard that yet, Nolan. Brian McConomy. He has been a big weapon for Appell. Smyrna has plenty of ammo, though. If you call Penn State linebacker you, Smyrna is quarterback hot. Started with you, Nolan, back there several years ago, putting some guys in college now. You got Cam Edge over at Maryland, Aiden Sanchez, I believe, is at Kutztown. This year's a young man by the name of Brian Wright. He's really coming into his own here late and progressed nicely. He's been the difference for Smyrna in the back half of this season. And I think Smyrna wins that, moves to 8-1 Friday night.
Yeah, Do I even have to say anything for this one? Like you said, you mentioned him. You got Brian Wright. Just, I mean, he's hitting his stride at the perfect time for them. And special shout out to him. He's worked really hard for this opportunity, so it's great to see him out there. And then you got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. You have great coaching staff, and they're going to have this guys firing on all cylinders. And I think they look to stay hot heading into the playoffs. And special shout out to Coach Judy, Coach Marks, Coach Soft, Coach Seymour. And I wouldn't be where I'm at right now without those guys. So special shout out to them and good luck.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, every game Appell plays, the opposing defense knows McConommy's getting the ball, and he's still racking up the yards. So shout out to him. Shout out to that offensive line because they're obviously creating the holes for him. So Appell's got things clicking. But Smyrna is coming to town, and like you guys said, Brian Wright. He's got a couple big time players around him as well. He's playing great himself. He's got Ymir Knight and Markel Holman as well. So I see the Smyrna train keeps rolling. I get Smyrna.
Nolan, talking about Brian Wright, I mean, maybe you've got to see him a little bit on film this year. You know the system. Is he fitting into that system nicely, or I mean, you would know?
Yeah, I mean it's a tough. There's a lot of things that we have to handle as a quarterback in the Smyrna high school system, and um, he's waited so long to finally get his opportunity. And first couple of games is obviously a lot of learning experience of being a senior and not having that experience that a typical senior would have. So, like I said, I think he's hitting his stride at the perfect time and feels comfortable in that offense. And once you feel comfortable in that offense, Coach Marks is going to put you in a good position.
So let's go to our game of the week. It's 4-4 Middletown, ranked number 4 in the state, versus number 2 ranked 7-1 Sussex Central. Don't let that Cavalier 4-4 record fool you coming into this game. Those losses are to National Powers IMG out of Florida, Washington out of Ohio, St. John's out of DC, and then they lost to Louisiana here in the regular season. Middletown runs that spread offense, and Sussex Central, they may be one of the last teams to run the wing T. But they run it well. This game is going to come down. It's going to come down defense, and both are solid. Sussex Central, they basically escaped last week, beating St. George's 33-28. My guess that's going to cause most of the predictors in the state to go to Middletown. 3 weeks ago, the entire state picked over to beat Central. I got sucked into that. Playing in the Castle is tough. We have a guy here that knows how to win in the Castle. You did it a couple times down there. But it's a tough place to play. And Nolan, you can speak to it in a little bit because they packed that crowd in there. I'm going to give the edge to the Knights at home. I think Sussex Central gets it done here on Friday night.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I've kind of gone back and forth on this one. My gut wants to say Middletown. They seem like they're the more talented team, but like you said, I remember how tough it is to play down there at Sussex Central. They let the grass grow a little bit longer than you're used to when you come into town, try to make you a little slower. The fan base is great there. It's a long drive. But that being said, I'm going to go Middletown. I think it's going to be a good win for them against a really good, really well-coached team in Sussex Central, but I'm going to go Middletown.
I was talking to Coach Wells on Monday, Nolan. We were talking about the big touchdown pass on their homecoming. We called it the Saturday in the wind. When you threw the ball, it was a horribly windy day, and you threw that long pass down. I think it was Will Knight in the corner.
It was, yep.
Yep. Trey, who do you got?
Yeah, you don't get too much more different offenses than we got in this game. We got the spread of Middletown and, like you said, the wing T and Central. And I think you guys hit on the head. A few weeks ago, I said Middletown, no doubt. They look like the better team on paper, but I've made the mistake once this year of picking against Central at home, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. All right, I know Middletown's a great quarterback. He's completing 68% of his passes, 18 touchdowns. He's having a great year, but something about playing at Sussex Central, I don't know. I just feel like they're going to find a way to break some passes up, get an important defensive stand. We've watched him do it a couple times in some close games this year, and that wing T is going to find a way to get the ball in the end zone. Let's go Sussex Central.
There we go. Those are 8 games for this week. Trying to catch Marty Sheehan. He's become one of your biggest fans on Twitter there, Nolan. He said he He picked against you early on, but found out the kind of guy you were. So let's talk Delaware football. I know you got 4 fans sitting in Section D, row M, every Saturday. We'll be there again this Saturday as you guys take on Monmouth. Talk about what it's like to play in front of these big crowds again.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, that's one of the big things that got me to come to the University of Delaware is the people care about it, and they're very passionate. Every time you run out of that tunnel, it's going to be a good showing by the fan base, um, and they're going to be passionate. They're going to be loud, which can be rare at the FCS level. So I think that was one of the big things that led me to come here, and because I know firsthand just how much the state cares about it.
Great tradition at the University of Delaware. And we were talking beforehand. It seems like you've been there forever with the red shirt season, now the COVID season, and you've had played for 3 different head coaches. A lot of things have gone on at Delaware, but the one thing that Dad noticed is not just has the crowd come back, the student section has come back, and you've played from. And they're usually the first ones to leak out of the stadium. They've not been doing this year. They've been staying behind you guys.
They have. It's been awesome. That's been one of the things that I've wanted my entire time here, and I think this year has probably been the best showing since I've been here. And I remember back when I was a kid going to games, and remembering that student section, and to get something close to that now is really cool, and that they're sticking out through the entire game and showing up when we need them. So it's definitely exciting. Good piece of that's college football. That's a big piece of it.
Right. So Nolan in the hands, they'll take on Monmouth Saturday at a 1 o'clock kickoff. So we'll be up there with their do a little tailgating and get in and catch another game. Only what 2 more home games for you guys, unless you get a home game for the playoffs, right?
Yep, 2 more.
All right, thanks, Nolan. Trying to catch up with Marty Sheehan. Appreciate you coming on, and go Hens.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Go Hens.
Again.